Hello, hi, Mitch here from Two Guys Auto Repair. Hey, today we're going to discuss Ford manual transmission clutch hydraulics. Vehicle we're working on is a 2002 Ranger, but you're going to see it in the full-size pickups. Any of them that had a hydraulic clutch with internal slave. This one's destroyed, but it's basically this unit. Very problematic if you've ever lost hydraulic pressure. In other words, you got to bleed it out. There's been all kinds of different discussions of how to bleed these things out. I've yet to see anything that works. You know, raise the front of the vehicle. I don't know, all kinds of crazy things. I've yet to figure out a way to work it. Anyway, if you're gonna, let's talk about if you're going to, you've got working hydraulics and you're gonna replace the slave cylinder. You know, conventional wisdom says if you're gonna go that far to do the clutch, yeah, you probably ought to do the slave cylinder. That being said, I've had lots of trouble with aftermarket slave cylinders. So if you're gonna replace it, I recommend going to Ford. They're no more expensive, and I've had good luck with them. I haven't had a bad Ford one. Lots of bad aftermarket ones. I don't care what brand, what part of the world you get them from. I think they all poop out of the same factory, and you can get bad ones, and that's a pain. So just go get a Ford one. Okay, so if you are going to replace the slave cylinder and you've got a working hydraulic system coming in, just a slipping clutch, pre-bleed this slave. And I've just got a simple little rig in here. I know it's pretty hokey. It's just, you know, a hydraulic line that snaps in, goes into that fitting. Okay, kind of looks like that. Real simple. You know, popping. I've taken the fitting out of this one, but you're going to pop that on, just a funnel. Maybe get a you know, a plunger or a turkey baster or something, and maybe force it in. But I've had pretty good luck just gravitying it through. Get this thing pre-bled before you install it. And then the next tip is when you got it installed, you're going up with the tranny. You got the tranny stabbed, but before you draw the tranny up, plug in your hydraulics. Otherwise, once you draw this thing up, it's really difficult to plug this in. The slave's going to build pressure. You're almost going to have to pop some pressure off to even plug it in. But if you plug it in first, then go ahead and do your final draw up past your guide pins and all that, you'll have a nice tight clutch. Pre-bled, perfect, no issues. Okay. But, okay, so now you've got one like I had here with an exploded slave. Really difficult to get the air out. I'm just saying, it's tough. So what we did, we started with this one and we pre-bled it. But because it exploded, I knew we were going to have trouble. Anyway, we put this thing in, get it together, and of course, we don't have clutch. So we did start, you know, the two-man. I mean, for lack of a better term, I call it bitch bleeding. Anyway, one guy down here on the bleeder valve, another guy pushing the clutch. You've got a bird feeder in the reservoir to keep it full. Not going to run out of brake fluid. These things only hold about a thimble full of brake fluid. Got to put a bird feeder up there in the reservoir. Anyway, every time I've tried this, and we tried it on this one, I can get about, I'm going to say 70%. You know, I've got some pedal, but it will not shift. On these things, you pretty much got to have 100% hydraulics on this, or else it ain't gonna work for you. Anyway, but you know, we got about 60 or 70% of the pedal by opening the bleeder, pushing on the pedal, and doing that whole thing. So your next step is, I'm just going to try to shorten this up throughout all the different ways of trying it. Here's what finally did work. And so kind of the theory behind this is, I came up with, is that what happens is your clutch master does not move enough volume of fluid to expel the air. It just keeps letting the air walk back and forth inside the line. You'll never get it out just by trying to pitch bleed it. So what we did is we hooked this in, stole it out of here. Just, there's a drift pin in here, pop it out, pull it out, O-ringed in. I ground this a little bit down, pop some rubber hose on it, right? Bam, rubber hose. Okay, so now this is coming from the pedal, okay, from the master. Hose. We're going to take hose here, bam, onto there. This gets dipped, this other end gets dipped in brake fluid, some sort of a, you know, stainless pan or something with plenty of brake fluid in it. Okay, so the brake fluid on the other end keeps you from introducing air. It's in brake fluid. You can't pull air. There's no way it can. So the next step is you still have to kind of go through the bitch bleeding process. So meaning that you need, I don't have them right here, but you're going to need a pair of hose pliers. Okay. And so the guy operating the pedal down, pliers open. When he's down, close the pliers, pinch the hose, dipped in brake fluid. As he pulls it back up, you can't pull in air, but it slowly expels the air out. It's kind of the same as using the bleeder on this, but you can't use the bleeder dipped in brake fluid, you know, just by sticking a hose on the bleeder, because you're leaking air around the bleeder. As soon as you crack that valve, yeah, most of it comes out the center of the bleeder, but it also leaks around the threads. It will not work. It will not work. This worked. It was a little bit time consuming, but, you know, really not too bad. Probably took us 10 minutes or so. So then as you're going, because this right here undoes the check valve in your hydraulic line. So if you're kind of, you know, have we got it? Do we have all the air out? Whatever. Pinch the line. Pinch it. Now this line ain't going to take a lot of pressure, but you can feel it with the clutch pedal, whether you're starting to get resistance, and you can actually kind of feel this guy starting to swell up. Before you ever plug this thing actually into your slave, okay, you should have no play in your pedal anymore. I mean, there might be a little wobble at the top just from linkage and whatnot, but long and short of it, pedal should be rock hard. Now, it won't be rock hard when you just do the pinch thing, but when you take this off, you pop it out and your line's hanging there by itself, just dangling in the truck, pedal should be rock hard. If it is, plug it into your slave, you're going to drive the truck out. It's going to work. And, you know, honestly, I think if you're in the 98% range, they'll go into gear in that. And I've had them to where I'm going to say in the 90% range. I could just about get it in gear, maybe start it in gear, pull it out of the shop, wait till the next day. That's a little better. So, you know, I do think the air can kind of migrate sometimes out of these, and especially maybe in the full-size Ford. I've done that, let it set overnight and come in the next day, and yeah, it's better. Now it's drivable. It's not 100%, but it's drivable. And sadly, let it leave that way just for lack of trying to figure out how to get the air out. I'm just saying, it's tough. But I'm just saying this worked really, really well. I hope I explained that well enough. But like I say, basically, you're going to plug that into your hydraulics coming in. This is going to get dipped in brake fluid. You're going to use a pair of hose pinching pliers, 2 people job. One guy push, pinch, open, pinch, in brake fluid. You'll get yourself to 100% clutch hydraulics. And so anyway, you know, I hope that helps you with your next Ford project. And with any luck, it'll get it out of your shop. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Hope that helps.